in partnership with CommSec.
Joining us from CommSec is Tom Piotrowski. Good morning to you, Tom. So a positive week in Aussie shares last week. Do you reckon that'll continue leading up to Saturday's election?
It's a good question, Kenny, and largely we remain hostage to headlines around trade, particularly as they relate to China and the US, and there was an aspect of that to conclude the week for Northern Hemisphere markets, and it worked to the benefit of equity markets. So technology stocks on Friday were the leading improvers where Wall Street was concerned. That index up by 1.3% in terms of the Nasdaq, and it actually racked up quite an encouraging result for the week. The Nasdaq rose by 6.7% last week. The S&P 500 up by 4.6% in weekly terms, having risen by 0.7% on Friday. So there seems to be a more pragmatic tone that has crept into the conversation around trade between the United States and China over the course of the back end of last week. But that's not the first time that we have seen that outcome, only to move backwards thereafter. So there's still some trepidation and some caution as far as market sentiment is concerned more broadly. But under these circumstances, Kenny, what's very important is the quality of the numbers that we're getting out of leading corporates like Alphabet, for example. So they reported after the market closed on Thursday. Friday was the first opportunity, US time, for them to respond in day trade. The index was up by 1.7%. The stock was up by 1.7%, but what stood out was some figures relating to cloud revenue, which was up by the better part of 30% compared to the same time last year, and also the affirmation that they're going to invest $75 billion into their business over the course of the year. So that was up by 40% compared to the same time last year. That sort of capex is one of the things that the markets are looking at very carefully on the part of big organizations like Alphabet and Google to test their conviction, particularly in this climate of uncertainty as it relates to trade. We're only looking forward to a flat start today as far as the local market's concerned. It's a big week as far as news is concerned. We've got the quarterly inflation numbers out on Wednesday. That will be one of the key outcomes. And of course, the election looms at the end of the week. That's probably more a story for next week as investors get to grips with the nomenclature of a new parliament.
Yeah, plenty to watch. Okay, Tom, thank you. We'll chat to you again soon.